Hello everyone! This is Reason Pleasantview Round 1, Episode 18, Part 4. Today Brittany Upsnot and Ashley Pitts are going to leave university. And in the next episode, Angela and Lilith Pleasant are going to join the local students. Well, for now we still have 4 households, but Jimmy and Gavin got a new household bio. The whole university is surprised that Jimmy has managed to clean up his act. Will his good behavior last when the graduation comes? And won't Gavin ruin his life by mixing up with that handsome senior? As a true popularity aspiration sim, Jimmy rolled a want to be friends with Heather. She is actually a perfect candidate to become his 5th best friend. Besides, he could ask her out to spend his excessive amount of time before his exam. He already knew that Sam had moved on, so he of course wanted to do the same. Additionally, both Heather and Jimmy have quite similar reputation on campus, so I think they can easily become friends. Or maybe even more. Gavin had less than 1 hour before his exam, so he was in a hurry doing his assignment, which could improve his grade. The telephone rang and Jimmy went to answer. It was Sam, but she pretended that she was calling Gavin. I think she'd picked up some of Brittany's tricks. She chose to annoy Jimmy by making him feel insignificant. Anyway, Gavin couldn't answer. He went to his final exam. As for Jimmy, he immediately called Heather Huffington, and as they were chatting about hobbies, they became friends. And right after that, Jimmy rolled a want to have a party. He is a perfect illustration of how people who we mix up with can influence our thoughts, wants, and behavior. But he still tried to clean the toilet on his own. So the inner fight continues. I was very surprised when Gavin got an A+ on his final exam. Meanwhile, Jimmy invited Heather over. Looks like she was hungry. That's why she went straight to the dining room. Sam's spy tried to sit opposite her, but Jimmy didn't let him do it. I think this guy is naturally attracted to sims with bad reputation. As for Heather, she asked Jimmy out on a date straight away. They went to a shop together, but Jimmy's class stood in their way. But they still managed to spend some time together, and the outing was considered to be fun. Jimmy returned from his class with a want to have good reputation, so I made him greet his countryman Eric. Unfortunately, Eric seemed to be still mad at Jimmy, so I made the party guy go away before Eric attacked him. I almost forgot to show you Gavin's new bio. Gavin would have never thought that someone could be as dear to his heart as his siblings. But as his attachment to Ashley Pitts grows, he suspects that it might be that very case. And I also noticed that Jimmy lost his love for Sam. I believe he may soon fall in love with someone else. The opportunities were nearly endless with all the random dormies waiting for him in his bedroom. But Jimmy preferred to concentrate on writing his term paper, and Gavin was working on his charisma skill. As soon as Gavin got the skill point, he invited Ashley Pitts over. He needed to go to his class, so he decided not to waste any time, and after a couple of romantic interactions, he asked Ashley to go steady. Ashley said no. What a heartbreak for Gavin. But as Ashley had reasoned his no but not wanting to engage in a long-distance relationship, Gavin continued to cherish his hopes. I still think that Ashley was lying about his reasons. Most likely he just wants to find someone even better than Gavin. Good thing Jimmy had already broken up with that liar. After Jimmy had got his logic skill point, he shooed Sam's informant out of the computer and began to write his term paper. And Ashley was already checking out Sam's informant in the dining room instead of sitting next to Gavin. But Gavin turned his back to that red flag. Jimmy finished the term paper and went to bed, and Ashley carried on with his mean attitude. He was laughing at Gavin when they were playing darts, while Gavin himself was applauding him. It's crystal clear that Gavin is genuinely in love and Ashley is just using him to have fun. And Gavin was also thinking about his love before going to bed. Bad news for you, Gavin. You fell in love with the wrong sim. Jimmy woke up at 4 a.m. to go to his final exam. He got an A+ and became a senior. I think eventually he'll become a better student than Eric Swain. If he doesn't restart partying, of course. Now we are heading to the Trevor sorority. Things turned quite nasty after Brittany caught Heather with their mutual crush. Can it possibly get even worse? Impressed by Heather's cooking skills, Sam wanted to get a skill point, but just as I was about to send her to study cooking, she had to go to her class again. Both Heather and Tiffany needed to go to their final exam, but Tiffany's chances to get an A+ were lower than expected. Heather was still in a terrible state after her fight with Brittany, so I made her eat her pancakes. It's better to be late for one's final exam than to die after it. Meanwhile, Brittany was asleep and she wanted to invite Custer over, most likely to give him more slapping. She was absolutely furious with him as well as with Eric. Both Heather and Tiffany got C+ on their final exam. Tiffany was still really disappointed in Custer because of his inexplicable behavior, and she was also upset about her C+, so she chose to cope with stress by doing yoga outside. There she saw Eric Swain, who apparently came to kick Heather and Brittany's garbage can. She greeted him to avoid the mess, and surprisingly they got along very well. They even had 2 bolts of chemistry. As they were chatting by the sorority, Brittany went outside to throw a box of pizza away, and she saw Eric. When Heather and Tiffany went to their class, Eric entered the house to use the bathroom, and of course, Brittany hated that. As soon as he reappeared in the hall, she attacked him to justify her new bio. Known as the queen bee of the sorority, Brittany seems to have lost her influence and power. Heather and Custer have fooled her like a petty freshman, and Eric has humiliated her right after their first woohoo. The payback time has come. I personally imagine Brittany as a very tall and quite muscular girl, so combined with her 3 body skill points and the lack of exercise in Eric's case, Brittany won that fight pretty easily and told Eric to get out. I changed Tiffany's personal bio too. Tiffany is the smart bookworm type. She doesn't like to make waves and enjoys keeping things calm at the sorority, even if it requires to clean up the guy of her dreams. So basically, after Tiffany had seen Brittany and Heather's fight, she decided to forget about Custer. Wise decision, Tiffany. Brittany is too aggressive and unpredictable. In the evening, Heather wanted to enjoy her final conquest, called Martin Rubin, and Brittany heard her invite him over. She stopped exercising immediately and called Jimmy Phoenix. When both guys arrived at the Trevor sorority, Brittany influenced Jimmy to flirt with Heather, and spineless Jimmy obeyed. Look how happy Brittany is. The queen bee knows that her plan is about to work. Jimmy entered the house and serenaded Heather right after her makeout with Martin. Astonished Martin slapped Heather all over her face, ruining their relationship. I know it was your plan, Brittany. It cost me one of my best friends. But Brittany couldn't care less about Heather's screams. She avenged herself and could now throw a late-night graduation party. She invited Kevin, Ashley, and Jared. As soon as the guests arrived, Kevin went upstairs where Tiffany was watching TV, but Brittany didn't let him approach her. It was her party, not Tiffany's. Anyway, Tiffany was still a very important part of the fun. She was doing the washing up, ordering groceries, and making dinner, while Kevin was standing creepily behind her back. I think Brittany's attitude scared Tiffany too much. As for the host, she was happy to share with Ashley how she'd destroyed Heather's reputation, and she also told Jared that she'd won a fight with Eric. You know, this guy's behavior makes me think he was never really in love with you.
Oh, Jared, what are you talking about? I never loved him myself. Have you seen his crooked teeth?
Meanwhile, Heather told Jared that she was sick of being at university, and Kevin's stares began to give poor Tiffany the creeps. Sam decided to talk about Jimmy's cheating. You see, your boyfriend was too pretty to pass by. He is not my boyfriend anymore thanks to you, and he is not your toy. In spite of Sam and Ashley's conflict, the party was good. And of course, Brittany decided to take her graduation photo with Sam because Tiffany would look too well next to her. Brittany aged up and began to wear Mary Sue's suit. I need to make sure she won't work in politics. And right after Brittany had moved out, Heather went to the phone to do the same. Martin had been her ultimate goal, and knowing him, Heather was sure that he would never forgive her after the cheating. She was never really interested in studying. She'd come to university to woohoo with a bunch of guys, so she didn't see any point in staying. And who knows, maybe she did develop some sincere feelings towards Martin after 3 years of friendship. I also don't think that it would be realistic if all the 15 Uni premades graduated. So Heather chose to drop out. Without Brittany and Heather's multiple friends, the Greek house was downgraded to level 4. And in the morning, Tiffany, being the oldest in the house, moved into Brittany's bedroom with the computer. I think I'll move Sam into Tiffany's bedroom next episode. She had all the necessary cooking skill points and even more, so she could expect to get an A+ on her final exam. And now we'll play the Frat Brothers. I also changed their household description. Ever since Eric had moved into the fraternity house, it's become the house of flying daggers. Will the bully control his anger after Ashley's promise to kick him out? Ashley was doing his assignment and he was thinking about his affair with Gavin. As I believe that he was still looking for someone better, I made him focus on having 3 loves at once. Turned out that not only Ashley had to go to his exam, but Custer and Kevin as well. Eric had his class at the same hour, so Joshua was left alone, and he hoped to get a good rest, but barely got any as he needed to go to his class too. And here is his updated personal bio, by the way. Joshua can be quite mean with strangers, but he is usually nice with his best friends and family. And he seems to be even nicer ever since he managed to get a girl. Kevin got a B+, Custer made the dean's list and rolled a 1 to graduate with honors, and Ashley got a C+ and graduated with a GPA of 3.0. Apparently, the local students finally began to notice that Eric was a mean sim. Speaking of him, he wanted to be friends with Tiffany. And I wasn't surprised at all. Out of all the girls he knew, he had the highest chemistry with her. And as he was still looking for a perfect wife, I made him call her on the phone. Kevin needed 2 cleaning skill points, so I made him clean the kitchen. Eric didn't want to be kicked out from the fraternity, so he tried to prove to Ashley that he'd changed his ways. He pulled out a textbook and sat quietly reading it. For some reason, Custer didn't want to have his lunch with Kevin. Maybe Ashley had told him that Kevin had been following Tiffany everywhere during Brittany's party, or maybe he just felt too smart to mix up with mediocre sims like Kevin. But perhaps he had something else on his mind. He had a couple of fears about Heather, and his new bio was saying the following. Custer's first sip of the forbidden draft made him thirstier than ever before. He needs to be most agile and cautious if he wants to continue his experiments. So Custer decided to follow his instincts and invited the dormy girl over again. The moment she saw Custer, she heaped praises on him. And after he flirted with her, she got a crush on him straight away. Meanwhile, Ashley was chatting with Gavin on the phone to keep him on the hook. Custer quickly made his bed, put on his lab coat, and began to study Amy's face and body. She seemed to be really excited about it. But Joshua needed some fun too, so he invited Sam Thomas over. Honestly, I didn't expect that she would agree to woohoo with him so easily. And after all the woohoos were done, Ashley threw his graduation party, where he invited Gavin, Jimmy, and Joshua's brother Martin. He didn't know Martin well himself, but he trusted Joshua's good opinion about him. As Ashley knew that Martin was very smart, he asked him how much money he'd got as university grants, but Martin never really cared about money. Joshua decided to prepare his last meal for Ashley, and he didn't seem to care much about seeing Sam and Jimmy at the same table. Custer, on the other hand, was laughing at Jimmy. Well, Custer, you also began to sleep around, and Jimmy was at least sincere with his lovers. He didn't use them as lab rats. Kevin, who was missing the entire party, discovered an unknown star, and Joshua decided to chat with his lover's ex. I think he probably did it because of Ashley. If Ashley was friends with Jimmy, that meant that Jimmy was an okay guy. What a terrific party! Brittany would definitely get jealous. The party score slightly improved after Gavin squeezed Ashley, but then it went down again because of a fight. And no, it wasn't Eric that time. I think Martin attacked Jimmy because of Heather, or because of Brittany's foul play, I'd rather say. Joshua was cheering hard on his brother, but Martin lost the fight anyway. Joshua was still really impressed by Martin's courage, so he admired his brother. And Ashley told Martin that he shouldn't get so obsessed with one sim when there are so many other possibilities around. The party score was not bad. Ashley took a photo with Kevin because he still didn't approve of Joshua's relationship with Sam. Everyone ran outside to see Ashley off. I don't think all these sims really like him, but they do respect him and believe in his chances to become a Hall of Famer like he wants to. Overall, Ashley did great for himself at university. Joshua was in a terrible state after the party. I believe he drank too much. And poor Kevin had to clean all the mess. As for Eric, he rolled a want to be friends with Martin. That's because both guys disliked Heather and Jimmy and believed they were better than anyone else. Eventually, Kevin only went to bed at 7 a.m., and Eric woke up early to get ready for his final exam. And now to the final Bright household. Ty still couldn't stop thinking about Ashley's cheating, but Martin's jealousy went even further. He had a want to see the ghost of Jimmy. And this guy is supposed to be nice. Well, he might be, but his grouchy brother is definitely more socially adapted. And speaking of Ty, here is what his new bio reads. Ty used to be the local gossip boy, but after his lousy party and his lover's cheating, he fears to show his face on the quad. So Ty was feeling really humiliated and was even avoiding to talk to his friends at times. He was sure that everybody considered him a total loser. Allegra gained the necessary charisma skill point and went to her class. Ty used this opportunity to call Ashley's best friend Joshua and beg him to influence the others' opinions about him. Eventually, Ty got glued to the telephone and missed his class. Or maybe he actually did that on purpose. He feared sidelong glances too much. He continued to swim in the sea of self-pitying and was wasting his time trying to convince everyone on campus that he wasn't a loser. Martin made the dean's list and became a senior. This guy is unstoppable. Allegra and Jared were getting romantic in the kitchen, and unfortunately the llama mascot witnessed their very first make-out session. The guys forgot to lock the door in their bedroom, so the mascot probably witnessed something else too. At least he was in their bedroom after the woohoo. Even Jared got embarrassed. Martin went to the campus lounge again to gain some creativity skill points. Custer was there too, surrounded by ladies, of course. Martin's piano skills got dissed once again, so he went home as soon as he'd got the skill point. Meanwhile, Jared repaired the bathtub and got a point of mechanical skill. And Ty was fending off his haters on social media. Allegra asked Martin how his friendship with the Barbie girl was doing, but he chose to keep his heartbreak to himself. I think he was right about it. Allegra would probably mock at him. Jared went to the coffee shop to go to his final exam from a community lot. And Custer was looking for his new lab rat there again. Jared returned from his final exam with an A+. Good for you, Jared! He spotted his best friend Sam Thomas at the coffee shop and cheered her up because she was still really insecure about her looks. He also congratulated her on seeing a new guy and then he went home. Allegra was doing a research instead of writing her term paper. And she couldn't stop thinking about her woohoo with Jared. Looks like he really impressed her. Martin discovered an unknown star. He will be really rich when he graduates. Unfortunately, he got exhausted and didn't manage to get the necessary logic skill point that night. I sent him to bed. Ty was already asleep and having nightmares about his potential bullies. He was paralyzed with fear and couldn't wake up. As a result, he missed his final exam and got on academic probation. Of course, I did that on purpose. I needed someone to fail for the sake of realism, and Ty seemed like the most likely candidate. He was one of the weakest students and also had a reason to be depressed and neglect his studies. Let me show you something nice for a change. Martin was making bed for Ty, Allegra was making bed for Jared, and she rolled a 1 to help Ty with assignments. And apparently Ty wanted to get Allegra's help too, so he approached her himself. Well, we finally finished episode 18, which consisted of 4 parts. As I promised, episode 19, the next episode, Angela and Lilith are going to go to college and we'll see them here. I'm so excited. I will literally play them tomorrow. I will get them new makeovers because I'm 100% sure that they will wear something ridiculous after they age up. As for the Sims who graduated this episode, well, not all of them graduated, but still. We'll see Brittany, Heather and Ashley at the very end of the first round, just like Jane Stacks, and the end of this round will be in literally 2 episodes. We'll get them jobs and we'll probably get some romance for Heather to distract her from the Martin situation. And at the end of this video, I'd love to thank that handful of people that are watching my Uni premades episodes, because as far as I can tell, most of my subscribers are skipping these episodes. They are waiting for the Don Lothario one. But to those who watch these episodes, who like them, I'm really grateful to all of you. I love you. You were the reason why I decided to play the Sims State premades, because I hope that probably these Sims would be interesting to someone, and I did my best to make them interesting. Also, if you feel like writing a comment under one of my SimState episodes, please do it, do not hesitate. And here is a question that I'd love to ask you. Who is your favorite SimState pre-made in my recent Pleasantview? For me personally, judging by his impact, I'd say Eric Swain. But I also like Brittany, Heather, Custer, Jimmy, of course. It's impossible not to like Jimmy. Anyway, share your opinion. I would love to read that. And that's all for now. See you in the next episode. Bye!